All right, yeah. So calculator work is important because yeah, you can do a lot of the workings when it comes to statistics on the actual calculator, but not all of them.
Correct.
So, all right. So one, you
Okay.
said you've looked at. Two, you've looked at. Three, you've looked at. You want to start with four.
Yes, please.
Okay. So page 24. Okay, so this is displaying data. You've got certain terms there that you'll obviously cover when you've gone through the material in the actual study guide as well as the textbook.
Yes.
I'm just going to highlight some of the important bits here as we go through it. Graphical representation is obviously taking information, so data, and
Yes.
representing it in a graph. So bar chart, line graph, histogram, it all depends. Pie chart, there could
Yes.
be different ways of representing
Do you
information.
think, I don't know if I need to know how to draw an actual like bar graph and all of that.
Well,
Do you think I
that would
do?
be part of your tutorial. So if you look at your assignments, what does the first
Okay.
assignment cover in terms of application? Because then you'll have a better idea of what you're required to do.
Actually,
All right, so
that's a
yeah,
good
week
point.
one, week two. Okay, so learning unit 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Looks like you stop at learning unit 16. So there's 16 in total. And obviously, the first few are required for the first assignments. The
Right.
assignment
My
dates might
husband's
have been
done the
moved.
first. Yes, yes, they've been moved to the 12th of May. My husband did the first assignment for me just because I was stressing about it, and before I knew it was extended. But
Okay.
maybe I'll look. I don't know if I should look through it and see if I need help with it also for another time.
Yeah, well, definitely assignments are great for practicing. So if you can obviously
Yeah,
do those assignments to practice, it'll obviously help you in terms of your understanding. I'm just looking at
right.
it. It's all multiple choice. And then you've got a few notes here regarding data, a
Mm-hmm.
few bits of information to identify, and then here's something to work out. Okay, so there's a calculation. Greatest frequency, median. Okay, yeah. So these you can actually do. Mode, standard
Right.
deviation, yeah.
Yeah.
So there are some workings. I don't see any
Okay. Yeah. And I need
drawings.
help with like standard deviation. Yeah. I also don't see drawings. Maybe in the second assignment.
Yeah,
I don't know.
possibly. Here's a distribution. Then there's a percentile here, percentiles. Okay, yeah. So first
Yeah. I don't even know
assignment,
what a
25
percentile is.
questions. Okay, correlations. There's actually more here. 26.
I don't know
And
where.
that's the end. Okay, yeah. So 30 questions
Sure.
covering workings from the first few chapters. So if you go back to what we had here, you need chapters 1 to 8 in order to do assignment one. Right. So I would
So do
rather
you think
finish finish those 8 learning
okay.
units before you do the assignment. You still
Right.
have time. May you said when was it?
The first few, the 12th of May, the first few
12th of May.
units are just basically talking about
Theory.
data. So I didn't think there was any point. Yeah, I didn't think there was any point to go through it with you.
You still
Um,
well, you don't
then
have to go through it with me because if it's just reading, that you can read on your own.
yeah, okay. So that's what
Yeah.
I'll just reread it because I started reading it long ago when I first got it at the beginning of the year, and then I just lost like my motivation and I didn't know how to go about it. So
Okay. Yeah.
yeah,
So maybe go back and have a look at those. If it's
okay,
if it's just theory, then obviously you can just go through that and just see what does the actual topic entail. Because
okay,
looking at this, it's introduction. So what statistics involves, the language, how it's presented, what's it actually used for. Basic mathematical calculations. That one might be quite important because of
yeah. I think
basics that you might need
yeah.
in
Yeah,
other
I think I may
units.
need help with that one. I do remember going through. I may need help also with that one.
Okay, so where do you want to
I don't
start? Do you want to
know.
start at 3 then instead of 4?
Yeah, can we maybe? Do you think maybe? I think maybe we should start at three because I do remember going over it, and it was quite a lot of like fractions, and I need help with fractions. But then I thought I can just do fractions on the calculator. Actually, I remember thinking that. So
Okay,
I don't know
well,
if I
here's
I don't
lesson
know what you
3.
think.
It does look like basics. What calculator do you have?
Uh, a Casio a scientific calculator FX82ZA plus. Don't
Okay,
know if
let's
that means
find that
anything.
calculator so at least I know what it looks like and then we can do workings if we need to. Okay, so let me
It
just
says
bring this
Casio
across.
FX. Sorry, I'm all over the show with this because I just don't know how to. That's why I needed you. I needed someone just to like hold my hand a bit in the beginning, just
Okay,
to
what
show
is
me
it?
how to
Casio
start.
FX?
FX82 ZA plus.
Okay, yeah, so it should
Yeah,
look
it's
like
that
that.
one. Yeah, that's it. Yes, that's it.
Okay, so let me just put up a picture of it so at least then I can look at the buttons so I know which buttons to press.
Okay.
Okay, is that your calculator?
Yes, that's it exactly. Yeah.
Okay, all right, so at least we have it. At least then I know what
Except
we've got.
mine doesn't say ES. Mine says 82ZA.
Yeah, well, this is
It
just the
looks the
picture it
same.
brought up. Well, it should
Yeah,
be the
but it
same,
looks the
right?
same.
It does look
Yeah,
the
it does
same.
look the same. Yes, yeah, it
Okay,
does.
if it looks the same, it'll work the same, so it's fine. I don't know what the model
Okay.
numbers are for. Maybe
Okay.
it's a slightly newer version of it, but yeah,
Uh,
this is what I'm getting. As long as it's the same, as long as your buttons have the same
yes, it looks
functions,
the
then it will
same.
work.
Yes.
Okay, so if we go to study unit 3, then if you wanted to go back to that one, let's see what we have here. That was it. There wasn't much
Yeah, that
here.
was, yeah, it wasn't. I just had to refer to the tutorial letters, and that was all like fractions and decimals, but then I couldn't just do it in my calculator, so I don't really,
Okay, yeah,
yeah.
so this is
I'll
adding,
just go over
subtracting,
it
multiplying,
again.
division, summation, notation. That's with this symbol. I don't know if you know what summation looks like.
That like that like sigma or
Yes,
yeah,
that's
that,
correct.
yes,
Yeah,
yeah.
sigma's
I think
correct. All right, that's
so
obviously
I think
summing
I'll go
numbers.
over, yeah, that I'll need help with, but I think I'll go over lesson 3 myself and then I'll come back to it with you if
Ye-
there's anything that I need help with,
Yeah,
maybe.
this doesn't seem very, very difficult. Fractions,
Yeah.
as you said, you can do on your calculator as long as you can use the
Yeah.
fraction.
The only thing is the graphs. I'm not so good at that's why I said the drawing graphs.
But yeah, again, that depends on your requirements from a UNISA perspective
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
if this is an online assessment, drawing graphs would
Yeah.
be almost
Yeah.
impossible
Yeah.
unless
Okay,
they've
so
got
that's a
some
good.
sort of tool that can help students draw
They do
graphs digitally on a
refer to
platform.
they refer to Microsoft in the textbook, so but I don't see it really anywhere in the study guide yet.
Yeah, you need
So
to
I don't think
focus on the assignment and you need to focus on past papers because
yeah.
that's where you actually get your best
Yeah.
maybe
Okay.
guidelines or
I'll,
guidance in terms of
I'll
how
look,
UNISA is going to test it. Because remember, the textbook that you have, this prescribed textbook, will have a lot more information that you might not require.
right.
For example, a lot of the Excel stuff. So I've done
Yeah.
stats, but I haven't done this one. I've done the STA models, the 1501, the
This is
1502.
yeah.
Yeah, so those
Right.
two I've looked at before. I've helped students with them. Obviously, you're
Yeah.
doing a psychology degree
Yeah.
course, so the stats is a bit more, let's say, tailor made for your particular stream, but it should be similar. So that's why. So those ones I know well. Obviously, this one's a bit different, but I've never seen them test Excel. Even with those subjects, STA
So that's good.
1501 and 1502, the textbook also gives Excel spreadsheets and
Oh,
Microsoft
gosh.
Word and all of that stuff, but I've never seen it get tested. So that's purely
Wow.
additional information.
Right.
But
Okay.
again, in your course, it might be applicable, but it depends. You've got to follow what UNISA has prescribed for you in your textbook and in your study guide. So obviously the study guide guides you through what you should be looking at. So if I just look at these 2 pages, they're telling you that it's important to have a calculator and you should be able to do square roots, you should be able to use the memory. Introduction, basic structure of the course, referring you to these tutorials. Okay, so this tutorial, looking at solving problems, equations, substitution, summation, and then reading and understanding graphs. Okay, so notice, reading and understanding graphs. I don't think you're going to
Okay.
have to draw graphs, otherwise they would have said drawing graphs here.
Okay, thank God. Okay, so I was going by the textbook, so I was getting into a huge panic. Okay, thank you.
Okay,
That
remember the
helps.
study guide is what UNISA is requiring you to cover. The textbook will obviously have a lot more, And that's why you have to always look at the study guide, because the study guide guides you through what you should be looking at. So, for example, you have to complete the self-assessment test, tutorial 22. They want you to complete 22.1, which is on page 565 in the textbook, and they want you to do 23 on page 581. And then they want you to complete okay, that's the same thing. If you decide this is not necessary, study tutorial 24 only. All right, so you need to look at those tutorials. Okay, I don't have your textbook. You're going to have to look at those 2 pages, and can you do those 2 pages? If you can do those 2 pages, then you need to look at that one.
So can I do them maybe for next time, and then we can go over them? I can send you like a picture of it or something, because there's no answers.
If you're struggling with it, but I don't think it's very difficult workings, because looking at the contents page, it's all basic arithmetic.
Yes, okay, fine.
All right, so you're going to have to look at it and see, can you do it or can't you do it? If you can't do it, then we can look at it. If you can do it, then, I mean, if you want to cover it, we can, but there's no point doing something that you already know how to.
Yeah.
All right, so you need to obviously look at those pages and see, can I do it or can't I do it? And check if you can. If you can't, then we can cover it.
Okay, perfect.
Right, so you've already said that 4 is something that you can't do. So let's have a look at this. Right, number 4, in terms of processing, displaying data, central tendency, variability, correlation, regression. Okay, so those are the topics here. Right, in lesson 4, you're looking at displaying data. Okay, we went through some of this already, and then we went back to 3, and now we've gone back to 4. Okay, plotting data. All right, do you know what a frequency is?
It's like the amount of time something occurs, I think.
Exactly. So if you're looking at these 20 applications, okay, you've got males and you've got females. How many females do I have here?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 14.
Correct. Okay, if you count all the F's, you've got 14. So that's frequency. Right, so F, 14 is the frequency. M would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, we know there's 20 people total. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Right, so that's frequency. Obviously, frequency can be displayed as a distribution table or as a bar chart. Okay, this would be a table. There's a table, there's 2 columns. So basically, this would be gender, and this would be number of people.
Right. And how do I know which is like the X and the Y? Do I need to know?
Well, that's if you had to put it into a graph, then you can choose an X and you can choose a Y. So gender would be on one axis, and number of people would be on the other axis. So gender I would put on the X, so that I can show 14 females, 14 females, and I can show 6 males.
Right.
Okay, what would this be? This would be a bar chart, because they're separate. This is got discrete data, not continuous. There's no continuous data because males are separate from females.
Okay, so it's discrete ungrouped data. Is that what the same as ungrouped data?
Okay, yeah. So discrete and undiscrete data would be covered in the first. That would be the very, very basic. So chapter 1, 2, and 3, basic stats regarding the type of data that you can get. So data sets. You can get discrete data or discrete or continuous data. If it's continuous, that'll be something like time. Time is continuous because you have seconds, you have minutes, you have hours, you have days, you have months, you have years.
Okay, like 5.5 is continuous.
Yes, 5.5 is decimals. So height.
Right.
Height would also be continuous. Okay, gender, it's either male or female.
Right. So
okay, color, all right, blue or red. Red or blue, red or green. Okay, those are colors. Colors would be separate as well. So it just depends what you're looking at.
Right, okay.
Okay, so there's a table. Here they've used counts. Right, so they've shown 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, and they've counted 14, and they've counted 6. You saw that earlier. There's a table. Okay, they've even taken a step further and they've used percentages. So if I look at 14 and I've got 20, how do I work out a percentage? 14 over 20 is the same as 70%.
Oh, okay.
This you can calculate on your calculator, right?
Right, yeah.
Can you calculate 14 over
So,
20 on your calculator to give you 70%?
I just put 14 over 20 and then I times by 100, I think.
Yes. Okay, so see, that's the basic math that they're referring to in chapter 3.
Okay,
Okay, because
fine.
that would be a
Yes, yeah.
fraction, a decimal percentage. You could have 0,
Right.
0.7, 0, 0.70 would be the same as 70%.
Okay, right. I see that. I got that, yeah.
Okay, let's see what else they've got here. Activity 4.2. They want you to percentage frequency. Okay, so you've got 6,645 applications.
Was
This is sorted into
907.
different provinces: Eastern Cape, Free State, Gauteng, etc.
So 907 divided by.
Hint: leave the calculation in 2 decimal places. Right. Okay, can you do this?
Yeah, 907 divided by 6,000, whatever that number was, that total number was.
So what is the answer?
What's it? 6,000? What's it? 907 divided by 6,000 and what was it? I can't remember what the total was.
It's on the screen.
Oh, there, 6645. And then I must times it by 100. So I've got, so then to 2 decimal places, 13.65.
Okay, there's
Sorry,
the
one
one.
second. Yes, 13.65. So, okay, great. So then 654 divided by 6645 times 100, 9.84.
Okay, yeah. Next one.
1506 6645. 22.66.
Yes, yeah. So obviously you would do that for all of them, but do you see what you're doing?
Yeah. Yes, no, I see what I'm doing.
Okay, so
Yeah.
do you know how to work out a percentage? It's the total, okay, in terms of, so in other words, what you've watched, what you've observed. Okay, the observed total. So I need to check how many people in the Eastern Cape? 907, okay, in terms of applications. Right, so that's what I'm observing. And then over the
Okay.
total in terms of everything.
Right.
Okay, so all the provinces. Right, so if I'm observing 970 in the Eastern Cape over everything, which is 6645, then I'm going to get a percentage, right? And that'll be the frequency.
Right.
So how many applications came from that province, etc.
Okay.
Okay, they should have
Yeah.
given you answers here, which they did. Okay, and then you can obviously check it.
Right. Okay, that's
Right, so
fine.
that's something that you can do. So we've looked at the first 3. Okay, as practice, you can do the rest and you can check it with UNISA and you can see, did I get this? 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 Right, but
Okay,
as long
perfect.
as you know how to do it, you should be able to get all of them.
Okay, fine.
Okay, is that all right?
Yes, that's good. Thank you.
Okay, what do we have here? Let's check. Here's a graph. This is looking at frequency and gender. This was for those 20 applications we had earlier when we looked at 14 males and females. Well, 14 females and 6 males. Remember
Yeah,
that?
right.
Okay, so
Yes, I
here's a
do.
graph, and they've drawn a graph. This is a bar chart because it's separate.
Okay, fine. Oh, yeah, there's, they're not joined the bars.
Right,
Okay.
so see, if you read this information, they're actually basically explaining what I'm saying because they're telling you this is a graphical representation of data. They're telling you this is a frequency bar chart. So I'm basically just kind of summarizing what's in the actual textbook just to show what you've got
Right.
here.
Okay, thank
Okay, yeah,
you.
so these are things that you could possibly go and look at to just check if you're comfortable with those concepts. But yeah, so are you comfortable with what a bar chart is?
Yes, well, I just know that it's the one with the spaces.
Yes.
And
Okay,
that there's
so
frequency on the axis.
yeah, so the labels are important. Obviously, this is the x-axis and that's the y, right?
Right.
And then you've got the frequency representing the amount of people. Do you agree?
Right, yes.
Okay, so here we have newspapers, television, radio, pamphlets, etc. Okay, there's the total. Right, so this is the frequency distribution for marketing and advertising. Right, complete the frequency distribution table and draw the bar charts. Okay, so the table is the first thing that you need. Okay, where's the table? Okay, then give you the table.
Isn't that the table?
Looks like it, but it's an activity, so it would have been nice for you to draw up this table, but it looks like they've given it to you. So for example, here they asked you to complete it. This was blank and then you completed it, right?
Yes. Okay.
Okay, so this table is already complete, so they've given you the table. If you're looking at the percentage, okay, that you could probably work out separately.
Oh,
Okay, so how do you work out a percentage?
The cumulative percentage,
No,
frequency
just
percentage.
the percentage frequency.
I times it by, I divide like 399 divided by 6645 and then times by 100.
Yes, okay, so you're going to get a percentage for each and every one of those. Do you agree?
Yes,
And
yeah.
that can make up 100 as well.
Right, okay.
All right, so there's different ways of doing it. You can use percentages and then you can show percentages in this table. Or you can just show those numbers. So here they just want frequency. So obviously,
So I can
how many people
Right.
marketed on the in the newspaper? 399. So where's the newspaper? Here's the newspaper. There, 399. There's the charts.
Okay. Okay, fine.
Frequency, there's the percentage frequency. We just said to work out the percentage frequency, 399 over 6645. Do you get the same answer?
Yeah. Having worked to that.
Is Unisa correct? Yes, they are. Rounded to the nearest percentage, 6,0045.
One, yeah. So it's just 6.
Yeah, if you just round off to the nearest percent, you could just make it 6%.
Okay, fine.
Okay, so they've actually, there's it there, 2.1. This is the table. So we had it earlier where we just drew it on this side. Okay,
Right.
I did think they wanted something. Obviously, you had to so this is not the answer. The frequency distribution table needs that column that we spoke about earlier.
Okay, fine, yes.
Okay, so this isn't the answer. The answer is actually further down. There's the answer.
Okay, fine. Okay, I see.
All right, would you be able to draw up this table?
Where did they get 399 is just the amount of times it occurred.
Yeah, that's from the question. There's the question.
Oh, they've given it. Yes, yeah. So I would be able to do that table. I would just have to do that last column, which is what we were working out earlier.
Yes, yeah, because that last column is giving you a percentage of each of those marketing tools.
Yeah, no, I would be able to do that.
Okay, great. All right, and then would you be able to take this and draw up a bar chart?
Yeah, I think I would.
What would your bars be representing?
On the y-axis would be my frequency.
Yes.
And the x would be the stuff under the marketing tool.
Exactly. Okay, so it'll look something like this, right?
Yes, yeah.
Okay, so obviously you've got the different provinces. Oh, not provinces. This is a different question. This is the different marketing tools. So marketing tools.
Yeah.
Okay, and then you've got the number of.
Yeah, I would just struggle with like what to go up in on the y-axis, like what numbers to go up in.
You can use any numbers as long as it doesn't. It covers enough. So if you look at this, what's the highest observation?
2,193.
What's the lowest observation?
199, 133.
133, yeah. Actually, okay, this one is lower. Right, so technically you would start at 0 and you'd have to go up to show television, you have to have more than 2,193. Do you agree?
I have to have more.
Yeah, you have to have more than that, otherwise you can't show the graph.
All right. Yes, yes, yes,
Okay, if
yes,
my
yeah.
graph stops at 2000, how am I going to show television?
Oh, yes, yeah. Yeah, okay.
Okay, so it needs to be more than 2193. So you could go up to maybe 2200.
Okay.
And then I can show all of it. Then I can just equally separate those points. You don't have to use the same, like they've gone with 200 units. Okay,
Right.
like
I
gaps
see
of
that.
200. Do you see that?
Yeah, I see that. Yes.
Okay, you could have used 500 maybe.
Right.
Okay, so I could have used 500, so then I would have gone to 2500.
Okay.
Right. So that unit of measurement is for you to decide. It's just up to you in terms of what you want to use as your scale in the actual graph. Does it make sense?
Yes, yeah, no, I understand. Thank you.
Yeah. So
That's
whether they're in increments of 200 or increments of 500, your graph should still look the same. It might look a little bit different, but you should have a pretty good um, like representation of the data of the information.
fine.
Does it make
I get it.
sense?
Thank you. Yes, yeah, it
Okay.
does. Thank you.
All right, so plotting data when it's grouped. Okay, so you can have data that's grouped. So when you have a group of data, in other words, you've got a lot of observed values that can be put into a table or a distribution table in terms of frequency. It could be a graph as a histogram, a bar chart. It could be anything actually. But when you've got grouped data, because it's grouped, so for example, if I'm looking at, let's say, let's talk about provinces. Okay, if it's grouped, so you could have marketing tools and you could apply that to Eastern Cape and then Gauteng and then KwaZulu Natal. Okay, so
Okay.
you could have grouped data where the Eastern Cape could have marketing tools. Gauteng could have marketing tools. Do you see where I'm going with that?
Yes, yeah, I think
Okay, so
so.
you're grouping data together. So, for example, this table is covering marketing tools, but it could be covering one province or it could be
Right.
covering the whole country.
Okay, fine.
Okay, so when you're
Okay.
looking at data, it just depends on what you've got. Sometimes you're grouping that data to make it easier for people to analyze, to read, to interpret. Okay, here they talk
Right.
about discrete. Okay, and then later on, I see they've got continuous here because they talk about histogram. Okay, this is
Oh,
stuff that they
okay.
would have talked about earlier in the earlier chapters. There,
Yeah, I do remember.
continuous.
I don't remember what, but I do remember they did talk about it
Okay, so discrete versus continuous. Earlier today, we spoke about discrete as being.
as being. Now I get confused. As being just like one number, not a decimal.
Yes,
Or is
separate.
it the other
Okay, so
way?
males and females,
Yeah, like
discrete.
gender or yeah.
Okay,
And then the other
height,
ones like yeah. And
continuous.
decimal.
Time,
Yeah.
continuous.
Right.
Okay, those are measurements that you can have decimals basically.
Okay, fine.
All right, let's see what else they've given you here. Okay, they've given you a lower and upper limit. What's the difference?
Yeah, yeah. I actually don't know. I managed to figure out that I think if you go 20 plus 11 divided by 2, I think it gave me the answer. I think that's how I did it. Sorry.
Okay, but what is the limit referring to?
I don't know.
The
Like, I
maximum or
have
the
no.
minimum, right?
Oh,
So if
okay.
it's a lower limit, it'll be a minimum. If it's a higher limit or upper limit, it'll be the maximum, right?
Oh, yeah, okay, fine. I didn't
Okay,
know
so
that.
if you're
Okay.
looking at an interval, okay, an interval is from one point to another. So, for example, in these class intervals, you're looking at 11 to 20. In the next
Right.
interval, you're looking at 21 to 30. In the next interval, you're looking at 31 to 40. So, how many intervals do you have?
3. So
You've
if
got
I
three.
get 10.5, does that mean it would fall in the first interval between 11 and 20? Is that what it's saying? Or not?
No, okay, you're okay. All right, remember okay, so do you understand what an interval means first? Before you look at lower limits, upper limits, and stuff like that, just look at the intervals. Are you
I
okay
think it's
with what an interval represents?
numbers that lie between 11 and 20. Is that right?
Well, anything between 11 and 20 would be that interval, would be part of
Oh,
that
it's in,
grouping,
I wouldn't. Okay,
because
so,
this is grouped data.
okay.
Okay, so group data means if something falls between 11 and 20, I'm going to group it in this interval.
Okay, fine.
If something falls into 21 and 30, I will group it in that interval
Okay, fine.
or in that interval. So it's grouped data. So you might have, let's say you might have an observation of 12. Where would 12 fall? In interval 1, 2, or 3?
1.
Where would 15 fall into?
1.
Where would 21 fall into?
2.
22?
2.
36?
3.
Okay, so these are observations. Right, so
Right.
instead of breaking them up into separate observed values, I can group them. So for example, this could be age.
Okay.
And I could be surveying people that are at different ages. Why can't I delete this? Let me try again. There. Okay, so for example, these could be people's ages. 11 to 20, 21 to 30, 31 to 40. Those could be people's ages.
Okay.
Right, and they could be
So then
categories.
what's the minimum value being 10.5? What does that?
Okay,
I
so
don't
here they're
understand
looking at real lower limits and real upper limits. Okay, so if you go back, you have to look at this. Okay, so in practice, you often have to work with data that sets that can contain really large numbers of items. Right, so you can have lots and lots of people in each of those groups, right? Okay, here they said at the beginning, group data can be displayed in a table called a group frequency distribution, okay, and it can be represented as a histogram, right? Then they said, for this module, we will always state how big an interval will be. Okay, so that will give you how big the interval has to be, right? In the case of group data, okay, when we use class intervals, right, the following statistics are important. Okay, so the real lower limits and the real upper limits, right? So if you're looking at this, okay, there's a hint here. Although in practice, class intervals may vary in size, in order to represent data meaningfully for the purpose of your research, you should remember to choose the class intervals that are equal size. Okay, so each of these are separated by 9, basically. Okay, 20 minus 11 is 9. 30 minus 21 is 9. 40 minus 21 is 9. Right, so are all those intervals equal?
Yeah.
Yes.
They're all 9.
They're all 9, yes. Yeah, so the gaps, the distance from the one observation to the other is all 9. Okay. So here they said the real lower limit and the real upper limits. So here you've got 10.5 and 20.5. Here you've got 20.5 and 30.5. Here you've got 30.5 and 40.5. Right, so they've given you the lower and upper real limits for those intervals.
Okay. So, okay. I think I know how to work it out now. So the lower limit's like the number before half, like minus half, I think.
Well, you've got 11. Each class has an interval of 9. Okay. They said the class intervals equal. Okay, so they're counting 11 as well. So if you're counting 11, then you're looking at 10 gaps in between. If you're including 11. So if I include 11, then it'll be 10, not 9. Does that make sense?
Yeah. And 20 is 20 also included?
Yeah, so let's count it. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. How many fingers did you count?
10.
Yes.
9.
No,
Got 9.
10. 10.
Oh, 10. Okay.
Okay, use your fingers.
All right.
11 is 1. 12 is
Yeah.
2. 3
Yeah.
is 13. Okay, then carry on. 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20.
Okay.
How many fingers do I hold up?
10.
10 fingers. Yeah, so there's
Yeah.
10. So that's including 20 and including 11.
Okay.
Okay, right. So yeah, so they've given you those intervals. There must be a formula for it though. Do they give you a formula here?
No, that's how I haven't seen. Even in the textbook. I tried to. I'm sure I tried to find also in the textbook, and I couldn't.
If they're asking you to work it out, then there must be an equation for it. Let's see if I can find something. Here's the midpoint. Okay, there's the midpoint. It's okay. Let's go back and let's just search for it. We can find it. If it's not here, let's
And I
go
tried.
back.
I'll try looking in the textbook.
You don't have to worry. It'll come up here. Let's see if we can work out how do you find the real lower limits. Okay, the lower boundary of each class is calculated by subtracting half of the gap value from the lower class limits. Okay, so 12 equals 0.5. Okay, so basically, there should be a formula for this, but that's not very helpful. Let's see if we can find something better, a formula for it. Real lower limit equation. Let's try that. It should be in your textbook. Then we don't have to use this.
Let me just see. I'm sure I remember looking for something about it. I'm just looking in the textbook.
Each score has two real limits. One at the top of its interval is called the upper real limit, and one at the bottom of its interval is called the lower real limit. Note that the upper real limit of one interval is also the lower real limit of the next higher interval. Okay, that we can see. That basically defines what's in the textbook, what's in the study guide. All right, so that we already know. Okay, it's just the actual amount. So this 10.5, I would want to know what equation was applied here.
I don't see anything.
That's my question. And looking at this, let's see. Okay, they are referring to the textbook. Study the section histograms in the prescribed textbook, then do the activities. Okay, but that's a histogram. Okay, feedback. The real upper and lower limits are found midway between the apparent limits of neighboring class intervals. Okay, there we go. We've got something.
I remember working like the midpoint of something out. That's what I remember.
Correct. Okay. Right. So there we go. We've got it. Okay. The textbook has given us the theory pertaining to the real upper and lower limits. Okay. So you're finding those real upper and lower limits by looking at the midpoints, midway, okay, between the apparent limits of neighboring class intervals.
Right.
Okay, so what would my neighboring class intervals be? Well, let's see. You've got the neighboring class intervals, so that would be 10, right? So it'll be what? 1 to 10. It'll be the previous interval.
Oh, okay.
And the next interval will be 41 to 50, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so that means that the 10 and the 11 would be the limits, the upper and lower limits, and if it's the midway would be 10.5 because it would be 10 plus 11, which is 21, divided by 2, which is 10.5.
Right. Okay. So
that's how you get the limits. So the lower and the upper are the same. It just depends on where you're looking.
Okay, fine.
Okay, because the upper limit here would be the same as the lower limit there. Does that make sense?
Okay, I see what you mean. So then how do I work out, so in order to find the upper limit, I have to find the lower limit of the next interval.
Okay, well, where's the next interval? The next interval ends at 20 and starts at 21. Do you agree?
Yes.
So what's 20 plus 21?
41.
Divided by 2?
20. I don't know what's 41 divided. 20.5.
There we go.
Right, okay.
Okay, what's the next interval?
31 to
21 to
40.
30 and 31 to 40. Do you agree?
Yes.
So the interval is the gap in between. So you've got 31 and 30. Do you agree?
Yes, I
What's
do.
30 plus 31?
61.
Divided by 2?
30.5.
There's it. Do you see that?
Yes, okay.
Okay, do you see how to work that out?
Yes, I think,
Okay,
yeah.
so this is something to highlight.
Okay.
Okay, the real upper and lower limits are found midway between the apparent limits of neighboring class intervals. That's what you need. Okay, so that will be in the textbook somewhere, and it's in the study guide as well, so we've got it at least.
Okay, yeah, perfect. Thank you. I couldn't see it in the textbook, but I'll just
Okay, it's
I'll
fine.
go over it.
But we've got it. Yeah, there's it there. Okay, does it make sense?
Yes, thank you.
All right, let's have a look at this one. Study the section. Cumulative frequency. Okay. So do you know how to work out cumulative frequency?
I think you have to add the frequencies up.
Yeah, so cumulative means to add up. That's correct. Okay, so when adding up, these are the results. Do you agree?
Yeah, well,
Okay,
I
so
think
the
so,
first
yeah.
thing that you need is obviously a frequency table, right? A table.
Right.
Okay, so you need to take the information and you need to draw it in a table. So here's the table. Okay, they've used these classes. Okay, so they've used 21 to 30, 81 to 90, because if you look at this frequency table, what's the lowest value?
29.
There's a 23.
23, I think.
23 looks like the smallest. Let's just quickly scan.
Yeah. Yes.
To me, that looks like the lowest.
Yes, yeah.
And what's the highest?
9. I think 90
Where do you see 90?
at the bottom, at the end.
I see 89. Oh, 90 at the end, yes. Is there anything bigger than 90?
I don't think so.
No, it doesn't look like it. Okay, so you've got the highest and you've got the lowest. Right, so
Right.
based on the highest and the lowest, they've given you these class intervals because 90 is the highest, do you agree?
Yes.
And obviously the intervals have to be the same in terms of the
Same
gap.
distance.
Okay, so
Right.
81 to 90, 71 to 80, 61. Do you see that?
Yes, it would
Okay,
be
so
10
you've
again.
got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 intervals. Make sense?
Yes, yes.
Okay, how do I get the real limit? So the real upper limit or the real lower limit? Well, I need to look at the interval. So what would my next interval be here? My next interval would be 91 to 100. Do you agree?
Yes.
So 91 and 90. What's 91 plus 90?
Oh, so it's I thought it would be, okay, I thought it would be 80 plus 81.
No, that's the lower limit, not the upper limit. I'm starting with the upper
Oh,
limit.
I thought we were doing the low, okay. Oh, so you're saying 90 plus 91.
Divided by 2?
90 and a half.
Yes. There's the one. Do you see how to get that?
Yes.
Okay, then if I'm looking at the real lower limit, I'm looking at the 81 and the 80. So what's 81 and 80?
70, well, I did
Add it
190. 70 and a half.
No. 81 plus 80 is
Oh,
161.
yeah.
161
Okay,
divided by 2 is what?
80 and a half.
Yes, so that would be the upper limit for the next class and the lower limit for the one that we just looked at. Does that make sense?
Yes, yeah. I think I just need to go over it to reinforce it in my head. But I do understand it.
Okay, let's do another one. Here, this is the class. If I want the
Right.
real upper limit, how am I going to get 60.5? Which two amounts do I add?
60 and 70 divided by 2.
No. 61 is the lower class interval. 60 is the upper class interval. So what's
Okay.
61 plus 60?
61.
122,
121.
121. 121 divided by 2 is 60.5. Do you agree?
Yes, yeah, okay. So it's the lower limit of the previous one and the upper limit of the current of the actual one.
Yeah, it just depends on what you're looking at, what class you're looking at. So let's do this one.
Yeah.
Okay, what's the working for that?
The lower one.
Well, what's the other class going to be? What's the other lower class going to be?
11 to, no, what? Oh, 11 to 20. Okay, fine. So then it's 11 plus 21.
No, not 11 plus 21. 21 plus 20.
20. Oh,
21 plus
okay.
20 is 41. 41 divided by 2 is what?
Okay, 41 divided by 2. 20 and a half.
Yes. That's how you get those limits, those real upper limits. So real lower limits and real upper limits. Okay, you need to look at those intervals, those classes.
Okay, fine.
Okay.
I'll go over that.
Yeah, please go over it and see if you can work them out. Okay, because you've got them here. You just need to get to them, right?
Right, yeah.
Okay.
I'll go over the page.
All right. So then
30.
how do you get frequency for those classes? What do you do?
I add up how many numbers lie between the class intervals. I think.
Exactly. So if you had to go do that, okay, I'm not going to do that because that's going to take way too much time, but you can do it.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe
Okay.
take a color. All right, so take red. Okay. Okay, okay, let me do it just for the first one. I won't do it for all of them because that's going to take a long time. I'll just do it for the first one. Okay, so this is what I want you to do. Go take a red pen and highlight the 7 frequencies that are between 81 and 90. Do you see that?
Yeah.
Okay, that's what you should be doing on this graph to get all of them. So there's 1, there's 2, there's 3, there's 4, there's 5, there's 6. I'm looking for one more. No, that's 80. There's 7. There we go. There's the 7.
7, okay.
Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 observed values from 81 to 90 in that class. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
Okay, so that's how you get the frequency, and you would do that for all of them.
Okay.
Right, how many observations do I have here? 80. Okay, let's check that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I've got an 8 by 10. 8 times 10 is 80. Do you agree?
Yes.
Okay, so this is my observed values, my raw data. This is raw data. Okay, so I've asked 80 people to give me their whatever this is. What is this representing? The assessments. Okay, so this was an assessment. Assessment out of 100. Okay, these are marks.
Okay.
I've assessed 80 people, and these are their results. Does that make sense?
Yes. No,
How many people got between 81 and 90? 7 people.
7. Right. Oh, okay. Okay, I see.
How many people got between 71 and 80? 8 people. And then go circle all of those 8 people, and then you'll get all of them eventually. Does that make sense?
Yes, yeah. No, I get it now. Yeah, I understand.
Okay, so that's how you get your frequency. Your frequency is the number of observed raw data information. Okay, that I've observed. How many points do I have circled?
Okay, fine. Are you going to send me a recording of this? Or?
Yeah, I'm recording everything we do. What's on screen and my voice and your voice is being recorded, yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, so how many observed values do you see here? 2, 4, 6, 7. Do you agree?
Yes.
So there's the frequency. And then you have to do that for all of these. Okay, so maybe use a different color. Use green. And go circle the 8 observed frequencies that occur between 71 and 80. And they'll be in here.
Okay.
Okay. I'm not going to do that because it's going to take too much time. Do the 15, do the 23, do the 14, do the 9, do the 4. Right, if you do all of them, okay, you'll get all the frequencies and it'll must add up to 80. Does that make sense?
Yeah. All the frequencies.
So are you happy with that column?
Yes, I am happy with that column.
All right. How do you get cumulative frequency?
Well, I know you add up the frequencies, but I would think 7 would be there. I don't know why 8 is there.
No, cumulative means from the start, from the beginning.
Oh,
So where do you start? Do you start at 90 or do you start at 0?
I thought cumulative was starting from the frequency.
No, no. Cumulative is at the bottom. It's from the start. 21 is the start.
Oh,
That's
okay.
the end.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so let's start at the bottom. Okay, what number do you have at the bottom?
Oh, I see. I was looking at. Okay, I was looking at it from the wrong. Okay, yeah, 4. Okay, that makes more sense now.
Okay, what's the next
And 4,
frequency?
4 plus 9, which is 13,
Exactly.
and 13 plus 14,
Exactly. Do you see that?
and then yes, yeah,
Okay, so it's adding up, but from the bottom.
right, yeah. Okay, that's okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes, no, yeah, I got that. Thank you.
Okay, how do you get a percentage frequency? This we did earlier.
This is what we did. So it would be 80 divided by 7, because that's
Not
the
80
total
divided by
amount.
7.
The total. What's the total? I don't
7
know.
divided by 80.
Um,
How many did you observe? 7. What's the total?
7.
80.
Oh,
Okay, remember
okay.
it's the total observed frequency divided by the total.
Okay,
Everything.
so then the next one would be 8 divided by 80.
Yeah, 8 divided by 80 is 10%.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, that we did earlier in a separate question. Are you happy
Yes,
with that column?
yes, yes.
Okay,
Now
how
this
do you
one
get cumulative percentage frequency?
so well,
Which column am I
maybe
looking
8
at? Percentage
cumulative frequency.
frequency.
Oh, I was looking at cumulative. Oh, okay.
Cumulative means to add up.
Okay.
So add up your percentage frequency. So 5, add, add, add. Do you see that?
Yeah, I do. It's
Making up
like
the
what we
100.
did with the other one, except it's in percentages now.
Exactly.
Okay.
Okay, so do you know how to do all those columns?
Yes, I
Okay, yeah.
do.
So frequency that you can get, but you get this from here.
From the data, yeah.
Exactly. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. Thanks.
Okay.
That
Are you
helps
happy
a
with this
lot.
activity?
Yes, yes, I am. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Here's another activity, but these are theory questions asking you to find the value. They've given you a table. Do you want me to do this one, or do you want to discuss it? How do you want to do this?
Um,
Because
we
we've already looked
can
at
just
one, but we've looked at this one. So here's an example, and we've discussed it.
yeah.
Now they've asked you to do your own. Here's the intervals. They're lower and upper, midpoint, but they're looking at that data.
Oh, I think
There's the
maybe we missed
answers.
her. Oh,
Sorry?
does it give me the answer? Oh, I think maybe we should go over 1 or 2 examples, 1 or 2, like just do 1 or 2, and then I can go over it afterwards by
Okay,
myself.
so let's read it. Okay, so here, activity 4.6. We're not going to study the histogram, okay, because that's in the textbook, but we can answer these questions. All right, complete the following sentence. The real lower limit is the what value?
Is the minimum value?
Yes, the minimum or the lowest value or the smallest value, yeah. Upper limit would be the biggest or the highest or the maximum. Do you agree?
Yes,
What is the midpoint?
the average.
No, the midpoint's not the average, it's the in-between points.
Oh,
It's the
okay.
midpoint. So if I have
The middle,
points, if I have point
the
10 and 20, what's the midpoint?
15.
Yes. Okay, it's in between. It's the midpoint is the yeah, it's
Middle,
the how can I put it? It's the midpoint. I mean, it's the middle point. Yeah, middle.
middle.
It's
Okay.
the middle. It's the midpoint. It's the middle. It's the central location for the upper and lower limits.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Then they're wanting you to determine. Okay, so let's determine. Determine the real lower limits and real upper limits and the midpoint.
Okay. So the real low.
Okay, so we did this earlier. You wanted to do an example, so let's do an example. How would you work out the real lower limit for this class?
What's the limit before plus 4, I think. What would the limit before be? I don't know. Naught. I don't know.
Yeah, 0. There wouldn't be a limit before, so 0 would be the last limit.
So then it's just 4.
So half.
Half.
Okay, because 0 would be the upper limit.
So
So 0 plus
plus
1 is what?
1.
Divided by 2?
Half.
0.5. Do they give you answers to this? Yeah, there's the answer. It's correct.
Okay, fine.
Okay, let's do the next one. Real upper limit. Give me the working. Give me the answer.
So now I'm a little bit confused. I think it's 4.5.
Okay, how did you get that answer?
I don't know. I'm just starting to see a pattern. I think 4 plus 5 divided by 2, maybe.
Yes. There's the upper limit 4. There's the lower limit 5. 4 plus 5 is 9. 9 divided by 2 is 4.5.
Okay.
Okay. The upper limit for this class will be the same as the lower limit for that class.
Oh, right. I remember you saying that. Okay. And then the upper limit will be...
What's this one?
8.5.
Yes. So 8 plus 9 divided by 2 is 8.5. Yeah. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. The answers are there. Okay. Right. Do you want to do the rest? Then you can check the rest.
Yeah, I'll do the rest. I'll complete the rest. Thank you.
Okay. Midpoint. How do we get the midpoint?
So is it the midpoint of the real and upper limit, the lower and upper limit?
Class.
Oh, okay. So then it's 5 plus 8 divided by 2.
Yes. So what's 5 plus 8 divided by 2?
6.5.
5 plus 8 is 13 divided by 2 is 6.5. That's correct. Okay. What's the midpoint here?
1 plus 4 is 5 divided by 2 is 2.5, I think.
Is that correct? Yes. Think you can do the rest?
Yes, yeah, I can do the rest.
Okay. All right. Here's the table. What do we have here? We have computer programmers, okay, that undertook battery aptitude tests.
Right.
There's IQ scores. Okay, so those are the scores. Right, they want us to construct a frequency distribution table using class intervals where they want the lower and the upper, okay? And they want you to construct a graph, a histogram. Okay, did they give you a template? Here's the template. Okay, so those are the headings.
Right.
Okay. Remember, when looking at the classes, all right, what classes do they want here? We have to read. Where is it? Here. Construct a frequency distribution table for the data. What size class interval did you choose? Why? Okay, so if you're looking at this, what's the lower and what's the higher? What's the smallest value? What's the biggest value?
85.
Is anything lower? No, I don't see anything lower. 85 does look like the lowest. And the highest?
124, I think. Oh, no, 131. Sorry, 131.
I see 120. I see 131. I see 124. Is anything bigger than that? Doesn't look like it. Okay, yeah. So there's the lowest and there's the highest. Do you agree?
Yes.
Okay, so based on those 2 points, now we can create an interval. So they've chosen this interval.
Right.
Okay, these intervals are using halves. Okay, that's not a very, very nice interval to work with, but that's what they've chosen.
Okay.
Okay, I would have chosen an interval that's a bit more, rounded. Okay. I would have chosen maybe, because the lowest was what? 85 and the highest is 131. I would have maybe chosen maybe like 81 to 90. 91 to 100. That's what I would have maybe have chosen as intervals. But they've just chosen specific intervals based on the data. Okay. So to get the same answer as the textbook, you have to use the same intervals. Otherwise, it will be different. It won't be wrong, though. It'll just be different.
Different. Okay, fine. I get it.
See, those are my classes. That's what I would use to show this data.
Okay.
But because it's remember, it's statistics. With statistics, it can be customized, right? Because remember,
Okay.
you're the researcher. You're going to go survey people as the psychologist, and then you're going to get data, and then you're going to take the data and you're going to crunch the data so you can draw conclusions. Does that make sense?
Yes. Yeah.
All right. So I
It
mean,
does.
those could be the intervals that I could have used to represent this data, and I could have used the same table headings. I'll use
Right.
frequency, I'll use cumulative frequency, I'll use percentage frequency, and I'll use cumulative percentage frequency. And I would draw up the same table as what we had earlier. Remember we did this one?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, remember we spoke about how to calculate these things?
I do.
Do you see those headings?
Yes.
Those headings are the same as those headings here.
Right.
Frequency, cumulative frequency, cumulative percentage frequency.
Yes. Got it. Right.
Got that?
Yes. Thank
Okay,
you.
so when you're doing this exercise, all right, draw this column, this row with all those columns. Okay?
Okay.
Write down those frequencies because those are the frequencies that they've chosen, not these
Right.
ones. Okay, I
Yes.
could have drawn up a table, but it would have looked very different if I used
Yes.
those tables, frequency classes.
Okay.
Okay, if I used those interval classes, I would have gotten a different table. Does that make sense?
Yes. Yeah. Because it's, yeah, I understand.
Okay, so I want you to try practice. Draw up this, draw up that. Leave all of that blank.
Okay.
Okay, and then go count the dates that you have, and
Right.
populate that into the table. Does that make sense?
Yeah. No, I get
And
it.
if you do that, you should get the same table as what
Answers.
they've got.
Fine.
Okay.
I'll do that.
How do you get cumulative frequency?
You add, so
So you
the
start
first
from the
one will be
small and you go and you add up to get to the big. Do you agree?
yes, yeah,
So what's the small value? 81, 82.5 or 107.49?
82.5.
Good. So you start there. So what did I start with? 5. Do you agree?
Yes, and then 5 plus 8 is 13, and then 13 plus 13, 26, and then 26
Correct. Do you
plus
know how to
11.
work out this table?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Do you know how to work out a percentage frequency now that you've got that?
Yes.
What do you do?
Think now. I've forgotten now for a second. Hold on.
Hold on. This is not the end of the table. The table goes on. Okay, there's the end of the table.
Oh, okay. So then I think I say 5 divided by 60.
Yes. Okay, so the total was 60, right? So 5 divided by 60 times 100 is 8.3%.
Okay, so then they just said 8. Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, that's the percentage frequency. Cumulative percentage frequency, do you know how to work that out?
Yes, so it's 8 plus 13. So the first one is the same, and then it's 8 plus 13 is 21, 21 plus 22. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Are you happy with that?
Yes, thank you, I am.
Okay. Would you be able to draw this graph based on this table?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, because you're just recording the frequency and the IQ score based on those class intervals.
So I don't say on the x-axis, I don't say 82 to whatever. I don't do that.
No, you don't. Remember, it's an interval. So this would be one interval. This would be another interval. There will be a third interval, fourth interval, fifth interval, sixth interval, seventh interval, eighth interval, ninth interval, 10th interval. So how many intervals are you going to have? 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 intervals.
Okay. So then, where did I get 5.0 from? Is that the midpoint of the interval?
No, those are the classes. So there's the start and there's the end. There's the start, there's the end. There's the start, there's the end. It's continuous data.
Okay. But it's not on the graph.
It is on the graph. Okay, so the starting point, that starting point would have been the smallest value, which was 82.5.
Mm-hmm.
And
Okay,
then
because it
what's
says
the upper
85.
limit? 87.49. 87.5 is the next interval. Do you see that?
Okay.
So
All right.
87.5 would have been this point.
Okay. Oh, so they haven't done it. They haven't put the exact numbers on the graph. They've just
They
gone
haven't
up in time.
they haven't put each number on the graph. They've just put one number.
Okay, fine. Oh, okay. All right.
That 85.5, if you add up these two values, should be the midpoint.
Okay, fine. Of what? The
What's
class
82.5 plus 87.5?
82.5 plus 87.5. 170.
Okay, divide by 2.
All right. 85.
Yeah, so that's the
Uh,
midpoint. Okay, so this
okay, so
is how they've chosen to draw their graph. If you draw your graph and you show 82.5 there and 87.5 there, and then the next point and 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 the next point, it's still fine.
yeah. Okay, yeah, that's how I thought you meant to do that. Okay.
Yeah, that's how I would have done it as well in terms of a histogram, because the histogram is continuous.
Right. Okay, fine.
Does that make sense?
You. Yes, thank you.
Okay, and then the frequency is how many observed values you had. So how many values did I have here? 5.
All right. Oh, there.
5. Make sense?
Okay. Yes.
Okay.
And then you count how many class intervals for the y-axis.
No, the y-axis would be looking at the number of frequencies, the highest and the lowest. So what is my lowest value? 1. What is my highest value? 13.
Yeah.
So obviously I need a graph that starts at 0 and that's more than 13. So maybe 14.
Okay, fine. Oh, okay, fine. Sorry, I get it.
Okay, so 0 to 14. Obviously I have to show all the observations here. The highest point is obviously 13. The lowest point is obviously 1.
Okay.
Make sense?
Yes, thank you. I'm just writing to go over it.
Okay, here they're looking at skewness, kurtosis. Right, skewness, they're saying study the section describing frequency distributions on those pages in the textbook. Okay, they'll explain what skewedness is. Skewedness is you can have graphs that are shaped like this.
Okay.
Okay, this graph is skewed to one way or skewed to another way. Or it could look like this. Or it could look like that. Okay, it's like skewed in one direction.
Okay, fine.
Okay, kurtosis is referring to the peakness of the distribution. Okay, so in other words, the peakness, the point, the top. Does that make sense?
Okay. Yes.
Okay, and then you do get these other measures that can measure it. Okay, but that's a lot more advanced statistics.
Okay.
Okay, if we just keep it simple, skewness is how the graph is shaped in one direction or the other. Kurtosis is that like middle, that peak, the peakness of the graph. Does that make sense?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, yeah, and they'll describe that in the actual textbook in more detail. So please look at that and go through it and see if you're understanding those concepts.
Point. Is the peak the highest point?
Well, the peakness is how pointy is the graph. So is the graph like this, or is the graph like this, or is the graph like this?
Right.
Okay, those are peaks.
Okay,
That's
fine.
more flat. This is more grouped. This is more pointy. Does that make sense?
Yes, yeah, got it. Thank you.
Okay, that's exactly what they're describing here. Kurtosis. Okay, I'm not too sure what the pronunciation is here, but a platykurtic graph would be a flat graph. That would look something like that.
Okay.
If it's leptokurtic, then it's peaked. It will look something like that.
Right.
If it's mesiokurtic, then it's more normal. Then it'll look something like that. It's just fancy words to make statisticians sound clever. Okay, flat, peaked, or normal is how we would look at it, like that. This is normal. This would be flat. This would be peaked. Okay, but they just use fancy words to describe that. Okay, so don't get too bogged down by the jargon. That's jargon that statisticians would use to describe flat, peaked, or normal.
Fine.
Okay,
Thank you.
there's the skewedness. Okay, there's the skewedness. Positively skewed. Positively skewed means skewed in that
Right.
direction. Okay,
Okay.
this would be negatively skewed, skewed in the other direction.
Okay.
Didn't label this. They should have labeled it. Okay, that's positively skewed. That's negatively skewed. Does that make sense?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Yeah, so I don't think they'll test this, but I could be wrong. You'd have to look at past papers to see. Right, past papers will tell you how much theory they're testing. I don't know how much theory they're testing because I haven't
Right.
seen any of the past papers yet.
Okay, fine.
Okay, so there's a question mark here. If you can get your hands on old past papers, then we can see, is theory a focus? Yes or no? Do they test a lot of this? Yes or no? Okay, I can't comment on that yet until I've seen past papers.
I'll try get some. I'm sure there is on the site.
Yeah, they'll
We'll try
definitely post. UNISA will always post it to my UNISA past papers, yeah.
look at that.
Okay, is that all right? Is the content okay? Can you go through this theory? Is that all right?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, let's see what we've got here. Okay, here's another table. We saw this earlier. Frequency tables. Okay, that's the end of 4.
Yeah, okay, good.
Okay, now we've reached 5. Okay, you asked about 5 as well. Measures of central
Yes.
tendency.
Yes.
Okay.
I
Are
think it
you all
was.
right? Do you want to take a quick 5-minute breather?
Yeah, maybe just 5 minutes if that's okay.
Okay, I'm just going to pause the video. Okay,
Perfect.
so lesson 5, measures of central tendency. Here we need to look at explaining central tendency, which is the midpoint of observed value. So, for example, if I'm looking at something like a normal distribution, okay, a bell curve, right, this middle point, this could be seen as the average, okay, or the mean, right? So,
Okay.
central tendency is just how close to the middle are you in terms of all the data that you've observed.
Okay.
All right, so mean is basically the average. Median is the middle point. Mode is the most frequently occurring value. Do you agree with all those 3?
Yes, I do.
Okay, great. So now we need to work them out. Let's see what you've been given here. Okay, so week 1, preparation activity scores. Okay, so you've got all these scores for all these different people. Right, in this lesson, measure the central tendency. We'll be discussing alternative methods for describing data. Okay, so they're obviously using this as part of their explanation. Measures of central tendency, we know that there are 3: mean, mode, median. Okay, just be careful. With median, you have to order the data. When you order the data, you make it smallest to biggest or ascending order. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, smallest.
Yeah, in statistics, they use X bar to denote the mean, which is basically the average. How do you work out an average? You sum up everything and you divide that by the number of observations. Right, so for example, let's assume you have, okay, so UNISA has 2 assignments. So assignment 1, you get 60%. Assignment 2, you get 70%. Okay, to get the average, you would add up the 2 and you would divide that by the number of observations. So your average would be 65. Does that make sense?
Yes, yeah.
Right, so an average is just sum up and divide by the number of observations. That's all that's basically what it is.
Okay, perfect. And the mode's easiest.
Give your own definition of mean. Okay, this is theory that you can go through. Let's focus on calculations, and I can show you how to do this on the calculator. Okay, so when looking at scores for contestants, okay, so there are 10 of them. Where are the scores? Oh, it must have been that table.
This big one.
Yes, okay, here's the table.
Yeah.
Okay, so acting classes for stage performances, you'd have to add up all of that. Okay, so let's add it up. 8 plus 5 plus 8 plus 6 plus 6 plus 7 plus 8 plus 8 plus 7 plus 9 equals. What do you get?
I didn't get it. Sorry, it was too fast for me. 8 plus 5 plus 8 plus 6 plus 6 plus 7 plus 8 plus 8 plus 7 plus 9. 72.
Yes. Okay, I get 72 as well. Divide that by how many contestants? 10. So divide by 10 gives you 7.2. Do you agree?
Yes,
So
7.2.
7.2 would be the average in terms of the acting classes for stage performances. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, and then you could do the
Does.
same for vocal training, image makeover, interview skills. Um, what is that?
Add them up and
France and media training.
okay.
Okay, and then total scores for week 1. Right, so obviously if you add up all of them, you could work out an average for each of these. Do you agree?
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
do you know
And
how to
divide by
work
10.
out the average? Let's do
Yes, you
one more.
add them all.
Image makeover. Work out the average for image makeover.
7 plus 5 plus 8 plus 6 plus 5 plus 5 plus 5 plus 8 plus 6 plus 8. 31.5.
Yeah, so no, 31.5. I'm not doing
Oh,
that.
sorry. I divided. Oh, sorry. I divided by 2. I see where I went wrong. Oh gosh, I have to redo the whole thing. Plus 5 plus 8 plus 6 plus 5 plus 5 plus 5 plus 8 plus 6 plus 8. So 63 divided by 10 is 6.3.
Yes. Okay, so 6.3 would be the average for the image makeover for this class, for this week. Does it make sense?
Yes, it does.
Okay, so obviously when you work out an average, you add up everything and you divide that by the number of observations. So here I've got 10 observations. Make sense?
Right. Yes, yeah, I got that.
Okay. All right, so you can probably see that here. Let's see. What did we work out? We worked out
The
the scores for the acting class activity. Okay, so we worked out the acting class activities. The one
yeah,
was 7.2 and then the other one we got was 6.3.
for the
We've got
image makeover.
6.2, looks like it. Oh,
For the
Susan
image,
scores. Ah, no wonder.
we did the image. Makeover.
Yeah, we did the average state performance, so that was right. Yeah, we did, what is it, makeup.
Yeah, image makeover.
Yeah, makeover. Yeah, so there's different ones. Okay, here, fans. Oh, fans. Yeah, fans and media training. Okay, fans and media training. Let's do that one.
Fans and media trainings. The average, the mean.
Yeah.
Plus it's 6.
Did you get 6?
Yes, 6.
No, I got 5.7. I got the same answer as them.
I don't know, because I got 60 as my total.
No,
I must
something's
have
wrong.
added
It's
something.
57 as the total.
Oh, okay.
8 plus 4
I
is
must have added.
12, plus 5 is 17. 24, 28, 32, 38, 44, 44. Ooh, lost count there. It's 57.
Yeah, I'm sure that's right. I probably just added in
12,
something.
17, 24, 28, 32, 38. This is 46. 46 and 6 is 52. Yeah, it's 57. It's definitely 57.
Okay, I don't know where I got 60 from.
Okay, yeah, be careful if you are doing this on the calculator. Remember,
I am,
the only mistake you can make is inserting it incorrectly.
yeah, so that's what I probably did.
Yeah, so
Yeah, I
especially in
need
an
to.
exam or an assignment or anything that is obviously counting for marks, you have to be
Yeah, I need.
very, very, very careful. You need to make sure that you're getting the right answer,
Yeah,
and
I
you'll
need to
get
get my
better
eyes.
at you'll get better at it if you just practice. So I would do all of these. Work on an average here, average there, average there, average there, average there, and then you've done it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. Okay, if you've
Okay,
done
fine.
enough activities, enough exercises, it should get better with more practice. Okay, because this is a maths related subject.
Right. Okay.
Okay, so
Copy
please
that.
try to do as many activities as you can, and you can even look at the textbook for more if you want to. Rather try focus on the assignment focus on past papers because that's obviously the right standard. Remember, the textbook is going to test other things that you might not be tested
Yeah.
on.
Yeah.
Okay, median we spoke about earlier. It's the middle point. We need to order the data before we can get the median. Do you agree?
Yes.
Okay, so let's see if we have an example here. Okay, define. Okay. All right, here's median, but we need to look at the data set from before. Okay, looks like they're just using the same set of data always. So back to this again. All right, let's delete this. Okay, so I want the median for acting classes. How do I get the median? Okay, the median, you cannot work this out on your calculator. That's the only one you can't because the calculator can't order the data. You can work out mean, you can work out standard deviation, you can work out variance. You can work out all of those other measures, not median.
Okay, fine. That's a good. I'll just note that.
Okay, so how do I work out median here? Give me the first value.
5.
Then
5, 2 6s, 7 and 7, and 4 8s. I can't see the end of that. The last value there.
9.
9, yeah, then 9.
Okay, how many do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We've got all 10. Okay, so obviously the midpoint would be where? 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so it'll be 8. Between 7 and 8. Do you agree?
Add them up and divide it by 2, I think.
Exactly. So 15 divided by 2 is 7.5. Do you agree?
Yes.
So the median would be 7.5. Make sense?
Yeah. So that's when there's an even number that you have to do that. Is that right?
Yes.
When it's an even amount of numbers, then I'll get like I have to get like an average of the two.
Not an average. Don't talk about averages. It's the middle points.
Okay, the middle
7
point.
and 8. The midpoint is 7.5. The midpoint is the median.
Okay.
Make sense?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, let's see what else we've got here. Okay, more medians. Just some. Okay, yeah, mode. Okay, mode you should know. What is mode?
It's 8. Occurs the most frequent because it occurs the most frequently, I think.
Correct. Okay, you've got 4 8s, you've got 2 7s, 2 6s, 1 5, 1 9. Right, so the answer should be 8. Yes. Okay, perfect. Right, what is central tendency? We've discussed it. Okay, it's that middle point. It's how close to the center are you for a set of data. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, let's see if we've got some more examples here. Okay, so this is just showing you mean, mode, and median with different diagrams.
Okay.
Okay, this is looking at central location. Sometimes the mean, mode, and the median can all be the same. Then that'll be perfectly central. Sometimes the mode could be here, the median could be there, and there could be a mode that side or a median that side. It could move somewhere else. Or like this, for example, here, mode is there, median is there, mean is there. On this one, mean is there, median is there, and mode is there. So this could be skewed to that direction. This is skewed to that direction. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Right, so it's just how the data is kind of like, how can I put it, represented. It's kind of like the look or the feel of the data. And these graphs you can only draw once you've got enough data, basically. Make sense?
Right, okay. Yes, thank you.
Okay, I doubt they'll test you on Excel, but they're just saying that you can use Excel to do certain workings. Although you do not have to be able to calculate values in Microsoft, for example. See, they're even stating it there. There we go. You asked me about Excel earlier. There's the answer.
Thank God. Phew. Okay, good.
Okay, self-assessment questions. That's it. Okay, that's the end of 5. Okay, let's check 6. Measures of variability. Okay, variability is looking at the inverted commas, the spread.
Right.
Okay, what do I mean by spread? Well, if you're looking at a graph like this, earlier we spoke about central location, which is this middle point. When you're looking
Okay.
at spread, you're not looking at the middle point, you're looking at this. How close or how far is the actual
Mid.
graph spread? It could be spread like this, okay, very spread across, or it
So
could be
you're looking like
very
from the midpoint, how far it
concentrated.
is from the midpoint.
Yeah, exactly. How close or how far are you from the middle point, from the central
Okay.
location? Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah, does it make sense?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. All right. So yeah, it's just a bit of theory that you can obviously read a bit more about in the textbook. The textbook's obviously a lot better than the study guide. The study guide's just referring to concepts that the textbook would have covered. Okay, introduction is fine. Let's look at an example that we can do workings. Okay, these you can work out on your calculator. Okay, here you go. You've got performances, again, for 10 students. Okay, we want measures of variability. Range, how do you work out range?
The maximum minus the minimum value.
Correct. Okay, it's on screen. Higher score minus low score is correct. Variance. Variance is using a statistical formula, okay, and it's looking at the variability of the observed value from the actual mean, which is the average, and then squared. Okay, so variance, you have to square it. Standard deviation is
Oh,
the square root of the
yeah,
variance.
okay.
Did you know that?
I've read about it, yeah.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
good. Yeah, so standard deviation, square root of the variance. Variance is standard deviation squared, basically. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I remember them, yeah. Okay.
Okay, so let's work it out for this group of data. What else do we have here? Let me just show you the formula for gradients. Not gradients, gradients. Variance,
Very.
variance, variance. Okay, variance is something that can be calculated using the calculator, and so can standard deviation. Because the one is the square root
And the one's the
and
square.
one is the square, you can work them out on the calculator. That was it, eh? And then they've given you an example here. And that's the
And
end.
then they just tell you the difference between the population, the standard deviation for population and the standard deviation for sample,
Yeah,
which
so
is like the same.
samples and populations, it just depends on how big the data set is. So for example, you can't measure the population, do you agree? There's
Yes,
too
yeah.
many
It's too,
people. So you pull out a
yeah.
sample and then you measure that sample. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's first look at these ones just so you can get an idea of how to work it out. Okay, so remember, what am I working out here? Let's go back to the beginning.
Yeah.
Mode,
Variability.
median,
Right.
mean, range, variance, standard deviation. Here I'm focusing on range, variance, and standard deviation. Those two you can do on the calculator. Range, you can just type it in. Highest minus lowest. Do you agree?
Yeah.
Okay, so if I look at this data set, okay, here's the data. Those are the contestants, okay? Let's read the questions there. Calculate the range of scores for the following dataset performance scores in the above table. All right, so we're looking at
So it's
highest minus
person.
lowest for the judges. Okay, so what's the range for judge 1?
So I'm confused how to read this.
These are the scores that the judges had given all these contestants.
Okay.
So judge
So for
1
judge,
scored Vuyo 7, Lebo 8, Sasha 4, Susan 5, David 8, etc.
so it would be 4, the highest value. So the highest value is 8 minus 4, which is 4.
Yes, so Stella's range is 4. What is Rico's range?
9 minus 6 is 5.
9 minus 6. No. 9 minus 6 is
9
not
minus
5.
3.
Okay.
Oh God, so
Z.
bad. Sorry.
Z.
Z is 8 minus 6 is 2.
Yeah, so
And
the
then
range is just the highest minus the lowest. So what is that telling you? That's just telling you the range in terms of what each judge has as a lowest and a highest score. Do you agree?
yes, yeah,
Okay, and that gives you an indication of their central location. All right, if you had to
okay,
work out variance, what would you have to do?
yeah, I don't know.
Okay, you have to work out an average. So what did we say the average was for judge 1? I think we worked it out earlier, but we can work it out again. Let's do it here. Give me the average.
To add them up and then divide by 10.
Yeah. Okay, I'm busy adding. Okay,
Eight
I've got
plus
my
six.
answer. What's your answer?
I'll tell you now. 6.2.
Yes. Okay,
Oh yeah,
this is the average. Do you agree?
yeah.
Okay, so when you work out the standard deviation or the variance, these two,
Mm-hmm.
okay, there's a mathematical equation that looks something like this. Okay,
Squared
I think it's
over
over n
n.
plus 1 or something like that. Okay, please don't write that down. Rather look at the textbook. Okay, I don't know
Okay.
it off by heart, but I know how to
That is
work it out though in terms of um, the measure. Okay, so actually let me just put it up here. It'll be easier just to do it this way. Instead of having to try remember it. Okay, yeah, it was minus 1 instead of plus 1. I was close. Okay, it's the sum of everything, okay, over the n plus 1. There's the formula. That's what it looks like.
So what's XR? Because I know X, the
xi
other
is the
one.
observation. Okay, so when you see this in your textbook, right, this will
Yeah.
definitely be in the textbook.
Yes, it is.
Okay, the xi is the observation. Okay, so
And that's
what is my observation? I can't write. Okay, let me just finish explain this and then I can go back. Okay, this
okay.
x bar is the average. Do you agree? Or the mean?
Yes, the mean,
N is the
yes.
total. So in my
The nine,
question, what is the total? 10 minus 1, which is 9. Do you agree?
yes. Yeah.
Okay, the top bit, this is the sum of the observed value minus the average squared. And I have to add up all of them. Does that make sense?
So what's the observed? Well, the
I'm
average
going to
would
show
be
you now,
6.
but do you understand the formula?
I understand the formula.
Okay, so observed value minus the average, each of them squared, and then sum up all of them. Do you agree?
Yes. Sum up
Okay,
the
so
total of the observed minus the average
yeah, so as long
squared.
as you understand the formula, which is what I've explained, now we can apply it to a practical question. Okay, so where's my practical question? Here. Go back. Where's that? It's further down. Here. Okay, so do we have the average? Yes, we do.
6. So it would be 7 minus 6.2. N minus 1.
Okay, so what I have to do here is I have to look at this observed value and I have to subtract the average.
Right.
And I need to get an answer.
And then you square the answer.
Yes. Okay, so let's do that.
7 minus 6.2. And then can I just press the squared button on my calculator to the
Yes.
answer?
0.64.
Yeah, 0.64. And then 8 minus 6.2.
3.24.
Yeah, 3.24. 4 minus 4.84.
4.84.
5 minus 6.2. negative 33.44. Could
No,
that
something's
be?
wrong there.
Oh,
5
because I
minus
put square,
6.2.
put it in. I'm trying to do it. I tried to do a shortcut on the calculator, but it didn't work. It's 1.44.
Okay, yeah, I'm putting them
Okay.
up here. Just check them as I go. You should be
Okay.
getting the same answers.
8 minus 6 minus 6. 0.04. Yeah. Okay. 4. Oh, I got 4. Oh, sorry, 4.84. Yeah. No 0.64. 0.64 also, and then 6 minus 6.2. 0.04. Oh, I got 0.04.
Ah, it's a 4. Sorry, yeah, it's a 4. I'm reading it wrong on the calculator. It's a 4. It's a 4. It's a 4. It's a 4. Okay, so that's it. And then what does that say? It says summation. So summation means add up everything. So add up everything.
Okay.
0.64 plus
3.
3.24 plus 4.84 4.84 plus
Yeah.
1.44 plus 3.24 plus 0.04 plus 4.84 plus 0.64 plus 0.64 plus 0.04 equals. What do you get?
I didn't do it. Sorry.
19.6.
19.6. Okay.
Okay, 19.6 is the answer for the numerator. The summation of all the observed values minus the average squared. Okay, so 19.6
Not by
is
now.
the answer divided by 10 minus 1, which is 9. So
2.1.
divided by 9 gives you
2.18.
2.1777 dot 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 recurring, okay, as your variance. That's your variance. If I square
So I
root the
mustn't round it.
don't round off the answer, is
Okay.
1.47. So standard deviation is 1.47572.
The standard deviation is the square root, right?
Yeah, so square root this answer.
Right. Okay.
Okay, let me check it
Okay.
on the calculator. I just want to do it on the calculator quickly to make sure it's correct, and I'll show you how to do it on the calculator using the Casio. Okay, what were my numbers again? It was 7, 8, 4, 5, 8, 6,
6,
4,
4,
7,
7.
7, 6. Okay, let me see what I get on the calculator. Let's see, I'm looking for a variable and I want standard deviation. Standard deviation 1.475. Yeah, it's perfect. It works. Okay, great. Okay, so let me try to do that on the calculator. Okay, so you can do this long working on the calculator using one button and it'll work. Okay, so your calculator is this one. Okay, does your calculator have a stats mode? Let's check. It does.
Yeah.
There's the stats
Yeah.
mode.
Number 2. Yeah.
No, there's
Oh,
again.
that. Oh,
It's
I
a
press. Sorry.
it's
I
a
oh,
shift. It's a
oh,
shift second function.
oh. So must I press it?
Okay, so make sure you clear your calculator. So you need to press the on button,
Yeah.
press shift,
And
press
1.
clear, press 9.
Shift.
And then on your screen, it'll say, like, do you want to clear your calculator or something like
Yeah.
that?
Then what should I press after when it says clear question mark?
Then there should be a. Okay, so what do you see in your calculator? Just tell me what's
There's
on there.
clear question mark, and then it says 1 setup, 2 memory, 3 all.
3 all. So press 3.
Repeat all, let's say.
Yes.
Minus, I don't know how to, yes is I don't know what yes is, like a bracket, or minus with a bracket.
Okay, start again. On, shift, clear, and then what do you see on your screen?
Shift, clear. Then it says clear with a question mark, the same as 1 setup. What, I don't know if this will work if I go mode and then it says press 2 for stat.
No, I need you to clear your calculator first before you do workings.
Yeah. Okay. It just says the same thing, clear with a question mark, and then 1 setup, 2 memory, 3 all.
So if you press 3, because 3 will clear everything.
Then I press 3 and it says reset all, question mark, and then there's like a minus with a square bracket, yes, and AC's cancel.
Okay, so don't cancel, use the square bracket. What was that other option?
Reset all, but it doesn't tell me what to press to reset all.
Press
it
equals?
Just says yes. It just says, oh, press equals. Okay. Reset all, press AC key. So I must press AC. Yeah, there we go. There, I think it's cleared now.
Okay, well, we'll find out if it's cleared now once we do the working and see if it works. Okay, so, all right, as long as you've cleared the calculator, so shift, clear the calculator. Okay, once you've cleared the calculator, then you need to go into your stats mode. So now you press shift.
Yeah.
And press stats.
Okay.
Okay, what do you see on your screen? Do you see a menu?
No. It just says there's nothing came up. I'll try again. Nothing came up.
Okay, let's see what other buttons you've got here. Okay,
I know if I
press mode.
Mode 2 stat, and then it says 1 dash variance.
Yes,
2 is A plus.
That's the right that's the right menu. Okay, so the mode is right. As long as you see type 1 minus variable equal, and then you can choose 1 minus variable.
I must choose 1. Okay. Oh, and then I fill in the key. It's coming back to me. I think I did this in a trick.
And then put in the values.
So it's 7, 8, like, and I do equals after each value.
Yeah, put in all the values.
7 equals 8 equals 4 equals 5 equals 6 equals 4.
Yeah, if you've done this in matric, they do teach this at school actually, so you can maybe go back to your books.
I just passed matric, so okay. Yeah. Okay, then so I put in my calculator.
Did you put all the values in?
Yes.
From 7 all the way through to 60 at the bottom?
Yes.
All 10 values?
Yes, I've got 10 values.
Okay, so once you've put in all the values, then if you press AC, it will clear. And you'll see a blank screen.
Yes, and
okay, now press that second function stat button.
So must I press mode again?
No, shift stat.
Oh, shift stat, okay. Oh, then it says 1 type, 2 data, 3 sum, 4 var variance.
Yeah,
5
press var, VAR.
Okay, so that's 4. And then it says 1 n, 2's mean, and then like 3 is like a squiggly circle and a X, and 4 is SX.
Standard deviation. SX is right. Choose
okay,
SX.
So okay, I chose it.
What answer do you see? Do you see this answer on your screen?
1.475, yes.
That's how you work out standard deviation on the calculator.
Okay, sure, okay.
Okay, so now if you want variance, what do? You write this down and you square it.
So do I have to clear, do I just do square roots on? Or do I have to rewrite up
you're squaring it, you're not square rooting it.
Oh, sorry. Oh, so I just do square.
You're timesing it by itself.
Right. Okay.
So depending on how you use your calculator, you can store that in memory if you want to. To store something in memory, you press Shift and you press STO.
Oh, I just pressed X squared, and that's the answer squared. 2.17777.
Okay, that's fine. You can also do that way, as long as you've got the value, as long as you can square it.
Okay, yeah, got that. 2.177778, yeah.
Okay, that's how you get variance. So the calculator gives you standard deviation. The calculator can't give you variance. But obviously, if you just square root standard deviation, you will get the variance. Make sense?
Oh, so standard deviation, but not variance. Okay.
Yeah, so that's how you do it on the calculator.
Okay, perfect.
Okay, so let's do that with one that has an answer so we can check. All right, let's go find one. Here. Here we go. What are they working out here? There, standard deviation for what did they work out? Let's see, 3.1. Okay, where's 3.1? 3.1. Calculate the variance and standard deviation for the scores for the following aspects in the data set for the performance scores. Okay, so we're looking at Judge 2. Okay, so we're looking at RICO. Okay, so let's go look at RICO, Judge 2. Okay, I'm just going to delete all the stuff.
Yeah.
Oops. Let me go back to that page. What page was that on? 25?
53.
53.
Yeah.
Thanks. Okay, there we go. Okay, there we go. There's the judge. Okay, so please don't do this manually. There's no need to. It just wastes time. In the exam, you would do the same thing. Grab the calculator, do it on the calculator. So, grab the calculator, do it on the calculator. This is what you're looking at.
I put it in the table, and then I forgot what I do after I put it in the table. I press AC, right? And then I press Shift 1, and then 4 variance, and then 4 again. And then I got 1.0540925553.
Okay, just wait. That was the standard deviation. Let's check it.
Yeah, I think so.
What did you say it was?
1.0540925553. 1.054. Okay, so they've rounded it.
Correct. Good. There you go. You got it. You know how to work it out. And then if you square it, square this thing.
1.11111. Yeah.
Okay. Can you do it?
Yes, I think so. Yeah.
Okay, great. Yeah, there you go. You just did it for that one. All right. So now,
Perfect.
if I was you, I would practice. I would do Sasha. I would do Kerry. I would do Judge 5. I would do Vuyo. And I would do Tepo.
Okay, that's
Okay,
page
so
54.
you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 other practice questions to do variance and to do standard deviation. Grab the table. Okay, there's Judge 3, Angie, Brian, all of them. Okay, or
okay,
I think if it's Tepo, it's the other way around. So it's going this way as well.
What do you mean it's going this way?
It's going this way and it's going that way.
Oh, okay.
Because
Tepo
isn't a judge. Tepo is a contestant.
Yeah, that's why in the beginning I was confused. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean you've got all the different questions there, and then you've got answers for variance and standard deviation. Right, and the answers are there. You can check them and you can see if they're correct. If they're not correct, then we can check them next week if you want.